Welcome in to AWA Unleashed. We are the self-proclaimed, preeminent #1 podcast video stream dedicated to the AWA, yada, yada, yada. All right, that's out of the way. We are just a couple of days removed. No, 3 days. 3 days removed. See, I can't even do the math. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. 3 days. And this is going to be kind of a different sort of a show. There was so much work that was put into the reunion by Mick that we're not really going to go into a particular topic. We're going to cover two topics this week. We're going to recap the reunion, and we're going to get into S&R. So I figure this is one that would be kind of lighthearted and kind of, easy for Mick Karch to go ahead and get through. Let's go ahead and bring him in here. And no, I mean that in the nicest way, because I know that you were gassed. Like this reunion, the prepping, the work, it took a ton out of you. And there were some people, Mick, that weren't able to be there. So I think this is maybe a good opportunity to kind of recap it from your point of view, and we can kind of see how you felt about it and kind of like everything going in and kind of coming out of it, and then we'll just kind of segue into SNR, if that sounds okay.
That works for me. And I the number of the day, Chris, is 15.5. 15.5 is the number of hours that I slept after the reunion. So I had a little catching up to do, pal.
Yeah, you're like Rip Van Winkle is what you are.
Good gimmick. That's a good wrestling.
You like that?
Gimmick.
You like that?
It's pretty good.
Mick Van Winkle. Mick Van Winkle.
Mick Van Winkle. How about that?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, there's no royalties, so forget it.
Yeah. Hashtag merch. Let's go ahead and take care of some business here. You can see Soda Stick up there. You guys, we got hoodie season. You can get, and not only hoodie season, but we're coming upon the holidays. So why not? If you know somebody that's an AWA fan, get them an AWA Unleashed hoodie. You can get them a t-shirt, or some people may have this already. But thanks to our friends at Soda Stick, it is a black and white AWA Unleashed t-shirt. It was debuted for limited time. For those that were at the reunion, they had first dibs on it, but I believe it is now up on the Soda Stick website, sodastickco.com. Just to go ahead and hit AWA Unleashed. Want to thank Landon for taking the time to be there. We really appreciate him being able to come out and just meet some of the fans that we've got and the people that support the podcast, because I think it's important, Mick, that he gets a chance to see you guys and really how much that you guys support it, because we can talk about it. It's one thing for us to talk about it, but I feel like if you guys are talking about it, it means something more.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. You got it. Nice to meet him. It's the first time I had met him. A very cordial guy. Yep. And certainly in our corner and vice versa. So, I like the black and white. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. And also want to thank 7th Avenue Pizza as well. I know that I heard that there's some folks around the metro that can't find it in their area. I know in Stillwater. So if you're in Stillwater and you know where it's at, hit us up in the comments. Hit us up on the Slick Mick Facebook page or AWA Unleashed fans. Just got to let us know because we want everybody to be able to experience. We don't just talk about it for shits and giggles. Like, it is good stuff. And I don't want to go out here and be like, well, I can't find it. I want to help you guys find it. So if anybody knows, like, in or around the Stillwater area, let me know. And again, just let us know in the comments or Facebook pages or anything like that. All right, Mick. I think that being said, we're coming off the reunion, and I know that it was a lot of work for you, but kind of take us through, not necessarily the the process of setting it up, but let's kind of go to the day before and kind of the work that you and Karen put in, because you two really made this happen. Like, what were your first impressions of the Embassy Suites kind of ballroom that we had? Because apparently it was a little bit different than the first one that you had run several years ago.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody from the Embassy Suites. We had, probably a half a dozen guys named Dan that were contacts at the Embassy Suites.
That's true.
This Dan,
That's true.
Dan, hey, can you go get Dan for me? And all of a sudden, the whole building
everybody.
But, it was. They're so cordial. And the first time we did this, just a few years ago, pre-COVID, we had half the ballroom, and we filled it. And this time we had the entire ballroom, and we filled it. And I can't say enough about Karen Swanson's dedication to this project.
She's a hustler. Like, she is a hustler.
Oh my God. I've known Karen for a long, long time, and this is what she does. This is her wheelhouse. She loves to do this stuff. And she was the contact with the hotel. I'm telling you, if they would have left it up to me, Chris, to coordinate this stuff with the hotel, there would have been a hot dog stand, maybe a couple of kernels of popcorn, and we would have been probably holding it in the kitchen. But Karen really delivered, and she was the contact for Zubaz. We got to thank them for coming out and
huge
their prizes. The Packer uniforms, the Packer accoutrement did not go over. Did not go over.
How did you say that? Accoutrement?
I
mean, I couldn't believe that, because we had all of this NFL sideline. It's because Zubaz is like the official NFL like merchandiser. We had all of this official sideline gear. And I'm thinking, I work with Travis Sharp, the MAW ring announcer. Great job by Travis emceeing it, by the way.
Fabulous.
He did a fantastic job. Then I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and start with some Packer stuff, which is kind of, mix and match. And like, hey, anybody want Packer stuff? All of a sudden, boo. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I figured that there would be something. It got to the point where we just had to give it away. Like, I'm flinging Packer hats at people people just didn't want them. People didn't want the Packer stuff.
You know what? I understand. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about wrestling in a minute, but
yes.
I want to, it's one thing to be dedicated to a football team like the Vikings fans are, but damn it, when was the last time you won a door prize and then you booed it and said you didn't want it? It's like, that's the way my ex-wife felt about me, but neither here nor there. But it was, again, Karen Swanson, thanks a million. So my end of it was dealing with getting the guys together and kind of sweating out a couple of them towards the end. And that's the nature of the wrestling business. Promoters do it at their shows. We did it at the reunion. It was we hadn't heard from Pat Tanaka for a while. Got a little nervous about Pat coming in from the Fargo area, but he made it with bells on the night before. So great to see him. John Nord, we were going back and forth with John, and he was there. Everybody who said they were going to be there, outside of Eddie Sharkey, and we want to tip the hat to Eddie. Eddie had a little medical procedure.
Yeah, and completely understandable.
Yep. So he couldn't be there, but everybody else that said they were going to be was there. A couple of people who we would have liked to have been there couldn't make it, previous commitments. But above and beyond the talent, the wrestlers and the celebrities, I cannot thank the AWA fans and the fans of our podcast for turning out. And again, it was a packed house. You always worry about it. You got a beautiful fall afternoon in the Twin Cities. Are people going to be going outside, picking pumpkins and go to the apple orchard? Well, they turned out. And I know the guys and gals from the AWA's past were very, very happy at the interaction. Now, these two clowns right there,
I knew who let that fella in the left in.
Yeah, Biff and Bozo, as you see them right there, they were the pseudo MCs for the event. This is us at the outset greeting everybody, and you're kind of doing the opening intro there, and I'm just like amazed looking over this crowd, and every seat was taken, and we were just thrilled to be there. I can't say enough good things about our fans.
Yeah, and I mean the way that people came in, and Mick, I felt like everybody was genuinely excited and happy to be there and was looking forward to it, because the day before, even a couple days before, I saw that people were, started to get excited. And I know that there are people that wanted to make it that couldn't, people that don't live in the region. I totally understand that. And I think that's why we kind of want to recap this and maybe give you a little bit of a feel and maybe a little bit of a taste of what happened. When we're up there and you're looking over just everybody, and you're able to look at this big ballroom that's packed with people. I mean, what's going through your mind at that point? Is it like a sense of relief to know that everybody has been here to show support? Or, I mean, are you feeling more stressed? I mean, what's going through your mind at that point?
At that point, it was a sense of relief, Chris, that finally it had come to pass. When I did this a few years ago, it's always stressful. You want to make sure that everything is going to go well and you're going to have the crowd. Well, as soon as I got up there and I saw this ballroom full of people, and that's just a sample, but that gives you an idea of how many people we had there, a sense of relief, a sense of gratitude. And I knew, as you said, the enthusiasm, people coming in, and not only that, but the wrestlers and the personalities from the AWA who hadn't seen each other, sometimes in 20, 30 years, to see that camaraderie and, oh my God, how are you doing? And hugging. And I mean, it was just, there were some tears that were shed too. And it was just extraordinary. And that's what it's all about. That's why I did it. This is not a money-making venture for those who think that, that was the goal here. No, it was to get the guys together from the AWA's past. We're going to take a look at some of them right there. That is on the left, former AWA Tag Team Champion Pat Tanaka. And how gracious a guy is Pat.
I can't tell you how many times I got hugs from Pat Tanaka this weekend.
Oh, he's just extraordinary and so grateful to the fans who, showed their appreciation and remembered him. And to his right is our buddy Derek Starfire Dukes. I told Derek he's looking a little small, might be in about the 270, 280 range. But Derek, again, very, very popular, very happy to be there. And as everybody was. And again, it's the sense of camaraderie. And, when I'm putting the tables together and I'm going to seat this guy, I thought, you know what? Who was there towards the end? Well, I'm going to put Tanaka with Dukes. And, I
wanted to ask you about that, like, because you were the one ultimately that kind of put people where they were going to be. And what was your reason? How did you decide who was going to sit where and whatnot?
Well, in the first place, back in the day, we would have made sure that the heels were on one side and the baby faces were on the other side. But we didn't have to do that this time. It was just basically this guy worked with this guy. These guys were on the production crew and what have you. If a personality, I thought wasn't necessarily going to fit with somebody else, I didn't seat them there. That was a picture of our good friend, our dear friend, Dixie Jordan, Princess Little Cloud. It took some arm twisting to get Dixie to come in, not because she didn't want to. Dixie was really hesitant, at some of these events. How dare you charge people for autographs?
It's funny because I was talking to her before, and it's almost like she is one of those that doesn't feel, at least I got the impression, Mick, and you know her much better than I do, that she almost feels like it's almost taking from the fans by asking them for money for a picture and an autograph. and not really wanting to monetize on that, and just being able to talk to people. And you don't find that very often, where people just feel like just being there and talking to fans and and individuals, that's enough.
Well, Dixie is, as you said, she was very sheepish about,
Hmm.
even the idea of taking money from people, but she loved being there. She is old school through and through. And it was just, Dixie is one of a kind. So uh, let's keep the photos going, which is probably the best way to revisit the entire event, which is just, again,
Yeah,
Chris.
this is one of my favorites, because this
Oh,
was a last minute addition. The Polish Eagle, and he's with somebody that I know is very, very special to you.
the Polish Eagle, Dick Jonkowski. Dick walked in the door and he said, "What the hell? You were going to have an event and not invite me?" Well, knowing Dick's schedule, I figured, the guy's got to be booked somewhere. He's doing a bar mitzvah someplace, or he's, emceeing a high school soccer game or something. But we got the Polish Eagle to show up, and he is seen here with Lenice Hennig, and she is the widow of the late, great, and truly perfect Kurt Hennig.
Mhm.
It was so great to see Lenice there as well with her son Hank. This was the first time that Lenice, surprisingly, had been involved in this type of an event. So she was a little, what do I do? Do I stand up? Do I shake hands with people? There you see, as I was going around the room and I kind of introducing everybody, that in the cowboy hat there, that is Hank Hennig, who is the son of Lenice and Kurt Hennig.
Mhm.
And then there was Lenice and our buddy Polish Joe Chupik.
Yeah,
Did you
I'll
hear how
put
I
the
pronounced it?
yeah, I'll put
Chupik.
the the picture back up, because I meant to go full screen and I accidentally took it off. I have to say that Hank Hennig is such a just an unbelievable, humble human being. Like,
Absolutely.
he was beyond grateful. And I had to ask him too. It's like, you hear all of these stories, and I know people, instantly, everybody wants to know Kirk. I asked him, almost, is it overwhelming? Do you get tired of it? Because at what point do you kind of just get exhausted of people asking the same questions over and over? And to his credit, he was just very down to earth, and was like, I love hearing the stories. I love people keeping my dad's memory alive. And for him to be there to support his mom, and Lenice to be there, and when they were introduced, and you said that they hadn't been to an event before, what I love about the fans and the people that were there, I'm sure you noticed it as well, Mick. Standing ovation.
Absolutely.
They
I
gave
noticed
them
that
a standing
right away.
ovation. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that just shows that the fans that we have get it, and to welcome them. What did you hear from them after the show, like after the event?
It's I wanted to thank them for being there, sharing themselves with our AWA fans, and especially when it's the first time and you're a little bit nervous, a little bit skittish
Mm-hmm.
about being there. And they kept thanking me over and over again, and you and the organizers. Thank you so much for honoring us. Thank you for letting us do this. And this is terrific. And we really appreciate it. Well, the gratitude, believe me, goes both ways. And there's a shot of Lenice and I.
I
You
love
know,
that. That's a great picture. That is
I
a
love
fantastic
that
picture.
picture. I'm telling you, I love that picture. And what I remember about this was the last picture that I took as I was walking out the door, and I don't even know how I'm vertical at this point. I barely remember taking the picture because it was just like, oh God, I'm gonna hit the floor here any second. But Lenice was so gracious,
Mhm.
and and again, what an honor it was to have both of them there. And you mentioned the standing ovation that they got,
Mhm.
well deserved, no question. So let
Yeah.
us keep rolling on the tour. the express
Yeah,
bus.
well, because because there were times where you told me you were legitimately exhausted, that I could not find you at times. Like you had to step away because you'd put so much energy into this. I'm looking around, I'm like, I can't find you. So it's like I just kind of went on to the next thing because I knew that you were pretty slammed.
Well, before I kind of intro this picture here, let me tell you something. This is not, oh boy, I worked so hard and all this shit. What it is with me, and it was like this with SNR and everything else and wrestling events that I go to, I don't know how to pace myself. And that is really and truly the case. And it's happened on the podcast a few times too. I get going and I get rolling. And, even Steve Olsanowski said to me, you don't miss a beat, do you? Well, you know what? I don't know. But what happened a couple of times was all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I'm going to hit the floor here, because God bless the fans and the friends. You're pulled in all these different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so gratifying, but I don't want to shortchange anybody. Somebody asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. And so a couple of times, not knowing how to pace myself and how to breathe and, all the mindfulness stuff and whatever else, the slick one almost hit the deck, but I managed to stay vertical. So back to that picture we were just going to show. And I believe, where are they?
There they are.
The father and son combination, Gary DeRusha, and I introduced Gary to the fans as the man that outside of Marty Miller probably had more heat as a referee in the AWA with all the screw job finishes and so forth. And the difference between Gary DeRusha and Marty Miller, I think, they both took bumps periodically.
Yeah.
Gary looked like an athlete taking a bump. Marty Miller going through the ropes looked kind of like a tinker toy. So there's a big difference there. But, Gary is a great guy. Glad to see him there. And what can you say about Al DeRusha? I mean, talk about the Energizer Bunny. I don't know how old Al is. I know he's in his mid to upper 80s, nonstop. And a guy who's done everything in the business. And again, so delighted to have him there. And Al loved it. That was his element, connecting with all the guys that he hadn't seen, for so many years. So very happy they were there.
Yeah, and there were a couple people that were, I mean, they were really, they came for the, for Al and Gary. And talk about this picture here, Mick.
Those two gentlemen, to my immediate right there, to my right, as the photograph was being taken, that was Glenn Anderson, and that is his son, Jason. And Glenn has been a friend for a long time. And, he was kind of directing traffic when people came in, sending them to their seats. A Vietnam veteran, rescue missions in Vietnam 100 times with helicopters, rescuing the wounded and seriously injured soldiers. His son, Jason, first time I had met him, class act. And the reason I put that up is just not only because they're friends of mine, but again, to establish the camaraderie, just the interaction with the fans and myself and with you. And it was this just exemplifies what the reunion was all about.
Yeah. And Glenn was one of the first ones that you would see when you'd walk in the door. Like he was there helping greet people and kind of telling everybody what was going on. And I love that. I think that was great. I believe we've got a couple more here, Mick, before we get to SNR.
All right.
Let me get these two. All right. There are just two left. And I want you to kind of give your thoughts on these next couple. There's a picture that was just specially for you. And I'm going to, as you can see, a fan appreciation award that was presented to you on behalf of the fans. And that was something that you did not know about. That was brought to me by a by an individual, and he knows who he is, and you know who he is. And I'm not going to, I'm just going to say that. And that was something that we had worked out for you. And then one more here. And then I've actually, I think we're going to hit one of the, I don't have the pictures up, but I'm going to get them here in a couple of minutes here. So kind of take us through, sorry, just kind of jumping around a couple of the other pictures. Take me through that, where you are holding something that was presented to you.
Well, first of all, I love this. There was a comment by Tom Rocky Stone on Facebook, and Stone said, "Imagine that the guy holds an AWA reunion and he gets a lifetime achievement award."
I love it. I could not, if I could give that comment 1 million likes, I would have given that 1 million likes.
Well, here's the deal. Who are we going to give it to, Stone? You? We can start with that. The other thing is, I'm not Vern. I'm not Dusty. I'm not putting myself over. I did not know that this was coming. And I believe we had just done the Rick Renslow tribute. Yes. And I was getting ready to, go schmooze with people for the rest of the day. And, you told me to hang on for a minute. I think my 45-second or 1 minute speech afterward
was like a minute 47.
Minute 47.
It was a little bit longer.
Oh God! Well, there you go. Again, I don't know how to pace myself.
Yeah, I'm just ballparking.
I didn't know what to say because, and I've said many times, joking about it. Of course, I had some decent paydays in this business once in a while. For the most part, it was the old hot dog and a handshake and, that kind of thing. But the recognition, not only from you, Chris, and from the person that, worked alongside of you on this award, but the reaction from the people, it just absolutely blew me away. And I mean that sincerely. You do this for frickin' 4 decades, and you're standing there exhausted and you got a couple hundred people there, and to get that acknowledgement, I can't thank you enough. And that is as sincere as I can possibly be with you. It meant the world. So thank you, my friend.
Well, it wasn't for me. I said I was the one that handed it to you, but that was from all of the fans that were there, all the fans that could not be there, everybody that has watched you on SNR, or anybody that has ever admired your work. So you absolutely deserve the Fan Appreciation Award. And that's just one small acknowledgement that the fans can give you. And to a man, everybody was excited that you got that. Let's end the reunion talk on maybe one of the things that I enjoyed. I enjoyed you getting your award. I know one of the things that we did was to pay tribute, that you and George did a remarkable job in paying tribute to somebody that I feel maybe casual fans have overlooked, but I'm so glad that you guys were able to honor Rick Renslow.
Rick Renslow, the everyman, the hardworking guy next door. And Rick put in a lot of years in the wrestling business, never achieved, as I said at the reunion, what I think he should have. And that's through no fault of Rick's. I think he was extremely talented. He just happened to be in an era where there was a lot of guys that were getting big pushes, and had a chance to work for Rick many times over the years when he started his own promotion, shortly before he passed. Man of integrity, as George and I said, to his family, and never shortchanged anybody on a payoff. He told you what you were going to get. He was open and to ideas, and just a class act. And it was our pleasure to present Aaron and Megan and Stephanie and his granddaughter who stole the show, with a plaque for Rick, and he'll long be remembered as far as I'm concerned. There's the plaque that we presented to them, Rick Renslow, and yeah, he's looking down, big bad trucker daddy, and I'm sure he's yelling at some point, "Thank you, Starch." And so yeah, that was a highlight for all of us.
Yeah, I think it was, and just kind of it took me a bit to find that one picture, but I think here it is with his daughters, and she did an absolutely remarkable job with the speech, and I think it's great that you and George were both up there, and you mentioned his granddaughter that was up there, Ricky, who was actually named after him, which I thought was really cool, and yeah, she stood front and center. And you can see right there, she was holding the plaque and she was waving to people. And it was, I feel like that was the icing on the cake right there.
Absolutely. And, it said it all. And that Renslow family, I'm friends with them on Facebook, talk about a love affair with their dad. I mean, they absolutely worshiped the ground he walked on. And I know he adored his kids. Unfortunately, didn't stick around. It's higher power made that decision to see his grandkids, but that was a moment. That was definitely a moment.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of on the fly here, and I know we've done this before. We're about halfway through. Do we just want to cut this and kind of just edit it here and come back and do part 2? Second part will be S&R.
Hey, you're the boss, pal. You're the one that has all those digits after the check, after the number. I'm the guy. It jingles.
They're all the zeros after there's the decimal, and then there's all the zeros after.
It's more than I make, buddy. Believe you me. But whatever you want to do, you make the call.
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut this here. And I know, I mean, you guys know if you follow the podcast, we literally, I mean, at times when we tell you we don't know what we're doing, I wish I could.
Oh, you don't have to convince anybody of that.
Yeah, they know. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut this now. We're gonna cut back next week. I'm guessing Mick and I are probably gonna be wearing the same clothes, just kind of a hunch. Because frankly, we're just gonna cut it here and then start a new stream. So there you go, a little inside baseball. One more thing, Mick, people asking, is there going to be another one? I mean, people are asking, see, and that's all right. I've had people that have been asking, and I'm like, let's get through this, but people have loved it, and they're already looking forward to number 3. And I feel like there would have to be a few tweaks if that was to happen in such a relatively quick period of time.
Well, let me tell you this. I've already had a couple of people reach out to me that want to have another reunion and have said we will help you. And so I'm going to say, there's going to be another one. Hopefully the guys stick around and, don't go to the big ring in the sky. And that includes me between now and next year. But
if you do, it's a weekend at Bernie's thing. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a weekend at Bernie's. You are going to be there in some way, shape, or form.
Well, don't worry about my shape and form, but yeah, I think we will. I think we'll do it again.
Awesome. Well, it was a great time, and again, we're going to go ahead and cut it here. Thanks to Soda Stick, 7th Avenue Pizza. You guys know the drill. If you want a black and white T-shirt, right here, go to sodastickco.com. As you can tell, as I kind of flip it around here. There we go. It's a brand
there you are.
Yep, just hit the market. Great for a Christmas gift, holiday gift. If you want it yourself, again, we got the personalized hoodies. You can get your name on the inside of the collar, which is really, really cool. We'll say size up a little bit if you're going to get a hoodie. By the way, you guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel before we I mean, that's the biggest way to help us grow. If you're like, I'm a big fan, I love it. 2 things you can do. Number 1, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that is probably one of the biggest ways that you can help us. Just comment, like, rate, and also join the Facebook page, the AWA Unleashed fan page. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and cut the stream. And hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of a reunion recap, because, again, this is, kind of give you a little bit of a taste if you weren't there. And hopefully we, captured the essence for those that were there. So we're going to cut it here, and we're going to come back. And Mick and I are going to do SNR. We're going to talk SNR, and we'll air that next week. Sound good?
Sounds good to me, buddy.
All right.